Blackmail charges against construction union bosses John Setka and Sean Reardon have been dropped by Victorian prosecutors. The charges related to allegations that the CFMEU pair had spoken to executives at Boral about not supplying concrete to Melbourne work sites run by construction giant Grocon in 2013. Reporter Karen Percy has more.
It was just a brief hearing here at the Melbourne Magistrates Court, but the courtroom was packed to hear prosecutors withdraw the two blackmail charges against John Setka and Sean Reardon, the bosses of the CFMEU. Now, this was in fact partway through a committal hearing process for these two men, and it's several years after charges were first pursued as a result of recommendations from the Royal Commission into Trade Unions. Magistrate Charles Rosenzweig said it was a sensible idea to drop these charges, which stemmed from a meeting in a Melbourne cafe in 2013 where John Setka and Sean Reardon met executives from Boral, a company. It says the meeting was about workplace safety and that the meeting got exaggerated and distorted. Now, the CFMEU at that time was engaged in an ongoing industrial dispute with Grocon, a big construction firm here in Melbourne, and it was trying to pressure other companies not to cooperate with Grocon. John Setka called this case a conspiracy to criminalise trade unionism in Australia. He did admit too that it's had an impact on him and his family.
It has been a tough time for us. It has been a very tough time for us. But you know what? Probably not as tough as it is for them families whose loved ones never come home that night. Our job is to preserve life. Our job is to make sure that our members go home to their families every night. And that's all we were trying to do. And they were trying to criminalise it. So we're doing our job. We get called union bosses. We ain't the bosses. The bosses are our members, and that's who we're there to represent.
His lawyer, Peter Gordon, says the conspiracy involves the federal government, particularly that under former Prime Minister Tony Abbott, as well as the Conservative Victorian government at the time under Dennis Napthine, who was the Premier, as well as Boral and the ACCC. He also says these proceedings today discredit the Trade Union and Royal Commission. Now, he said today ends a dark chapter in union and political history in this country, but do not expect there to be a truce at all between the two sides here. The federal government isn't budging on its view of the CFMEU. Jobs Minister Michaelia Cash today called it Australia's most notorious union when it comes to unlawful activity.
The CFMEU are without one of the most notorious, in fact, they are the most notorious union in Australia. I think we're up to about $14 million in fines that have now been handed out against the CFMEU for unlawful behaviour.
And it's not the end for John Setka either. He indicated today that in the next couple of days he'll be saying what is next.